All right, I'd like to call the JPS meeting to order today, January 19th. The time is 8:01 a.m. Housekeeping pursuant to the Illinois Attorney General Guidance to Public Bodies and Open Meetings Acts during COVID-19 pandemic. County board members may participate without being physically present in compliance with the established provisions. Roll call, please. Here.
Can you guys? I can't hear.
She can't hear.
Can't hear the boardroom. Earth to boardroom.
Here now.
Member Chaplin,
Here.
Member Covert,
Here.
Member Dessart,
Here.
Member Eckhoff,
Here.
Member Garcia,
Here.
Member Krajewski,
Here.
Member Ozog,
Here.
Member Pachalski, Member Schwarzy,
Here.
Member Selman,
Here.
Member Zay.
Here.
So seeing as though we do not have a physical quorum in the room, Section 70 of OMA permits members to attend remotely. Welcome, everyone. We do have member, officer, or council physically present at the meeting location. Public comments are allowed, subject to attendance limitations to ensure the health and safety of those who attend. So all votes are going to be roll call again today. We do have public comment. I'd like to start with, we have Philip Norton from the Glen Ellen Police Department in person speaking on appreciation. Welcome.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, DuPage County Board members, thank you for allowing me this time to speak. In June of 2020, I sent a letter to Chairman Cronin thanking Sheriff Mendrick and his department for their leadership in the DuPage County, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic and periods of unrest. I'm before you today to again express my appreciation for the leadership of the DuPage County Sheriff's Office, DuPage State's Attorney's Office, and especially Sheriff Jim Mendrick and State's Attorney Bob Berlin. During the very short run-up to the Illinois legislature, recklessly passing a damaging anti-victim, anti-police, pro-criminal House bill under the guise of police reform, Sheriff Mendrick, State's Attorney Bob Berlin lobbied hard for the interests of law-abiding citizens, crime victims, law enforcement, and the criminal offenders under his charge. Unfortunately, their efforts fell on mostly deaf ears. I recognize there will likely be trailer bills to fix some of the more egregious shortcomings of this legislation, but the bill in its current state is an awful place to start this process. In addition to the numerous changes in the bill that will make the job of police officer less safe and much more difficult, and the life of a career criminal much easier, it is not hard to predict the enormous financial costs this will have on local municipalities. Police salaries will skyrocket as unions demand more due to the elevated responsibilities and greater risks involved in their jobs. Police departments will have to increase their starting salary to try to attract the shrinking pool of officer candidates, and other departments will have to outbid for the same people. Insurance costs, training budgets, and legal defenses will strain even the most well-funded agencies. Sheriff Mendrick, State's Attorney Berlin, and others spent countless hours in an effort to not defeat this bill, but to balance the interests of the citizens, law enforcement, and offenders. While their work and the work of all of us in the business of protecting others is far from over, it is important to recognize their extraordinary efforts to date. I would also like to thank the local elected officials from both sides of the aisle who voted no on this measure. And finally, thank you for this time and your efforts in supporting law enforcement.
Thank you for your comment. And I think we also have a few that came on over online. If you could read those, please.
I have a public comment from Sarah Campagna regarding House Bill 3653, I find Sheriff Mendrick's comments regarding his personal views on his public Facebook page to be unprofessional and greatly lacking in any real information, among other things. While everyone is allowed their own opinions, he provided no actual facts and strictly fear-based opinions. A few of the comments that Sheriff Mendrick made: I'm very sorry to announce the dismantling of public safety as we know it, a true weakening of law enforcement. I mean, no offense, but we are DuPage County, not Cook County, where all of the problems are coming from, both criminally and politically. What I find most appalling, however, is his inclusion of, you all have a right to know who did this, so I've included the voting roster so everyone understands where this is all coming from. This comment led to others from the public, such as, I'd be interested in seeing pictures and the bios of the people who voted for this bill. I, of course, don't see a problem letting the public know who did and did not vote for the bill. That is public information. However, he didn't even include a link to the bill or any real information about the bill. He only included his own propaganda speak and the list of who did this. His intent is very clear in his wording, and particularly just 1 week after an attack on Congress in DC, this is highly inappropriate behavior from an elected official. I have another public comment from Carrie Haley regarding Sheriff Mendrick's January 13th Facebook posts. After this passage of House Bill 3653, I was extremely disappointed to see Sheriff Mendrick's Facebook post on January 13, which began, quote, I'm very sorry to announce the dismantling of public safety as we know it, close quote. Not only is he grossly overstating the impact of this bill on the day-to-day lives of the people in our county, I believe he is being deliberately misleading and political in his rhetoric. He ends with, we will be there for you as long as we can, as if this bill in some way dismantles the police department. He also quotes the results of the horribly flawed referendum question that was inserted into the November ballot regarding funding law enforcement. In a casual conversation with several residents of DuPage County, we all realized we thought that question meant something completely different. So to take that as 74% of DuPage County citizens desiring law enforcement to be their number one priority is questionable at best. I find Sheriff Mendrick's frequent political Facebook posts to be concerning and unprofessional, but deliberately stroking the fears of regular citizens at this moment in time is downright reckless, irresponsible, and reprehensible. And finally, I have a public comment from Kathy Nash regarding Sheriff Mendrick public comments. As a law-abiding, tax-paying resident of DuPage County, I was appalled to see Sheriff Mendrick's public comments across social media in response to the passage of a criminal justice reform bill by the Illinois State Legislature. He begins his fear-stoking comments by stating, quote, I'm very sorry to announce the dismantling of public safety as we know it, close quote. He then goes on to present half-truths about the bill. He likes several incendiary responses such as, quote, post their names all over and post what they voted on to defund our men and women. We need to take our state and country back, close quotes. As we learned all too clearly, stoking public fear is dangerous. The Sheriff Mendrick hoped to incite violence against our elected politicians because they voted for a bill he disagrees with. Some of the responses to Sheriff Mendrick's comments certainly think that is the answer. Do we want to see what happened in Washington happen here in our own community? Because this type of irresponsible rhetoric can lead to violence. I hope this committee and the DuPage County Board consider censuring Sheriff Mendrick. That concludes public comment.
Thank you, and thanks to all who submitted public comment. I'll move on to Pierman's remarks. Two seminal events have occurred since our last meeting that affect the work and oversight of this committee at the national level and at the state level. As we know, as we've heard public comment this morning, legislature has passed a criminal justice reform package. It's a copy of it sits on my desk right now. It's in the neighborhood of 700 pages. It's substantial, it's controversial, it's going to be expensive, and the governor is expected to sign, and we may see some modification, as was mentioned, in a possible trailer bill's modification before then. It's important for this committee to remember, and the public to remember, that this is not scheduled to go into effect until 2023. So we do have some time here. My vice chair, Member Pajowski, and I agree the best way to go about synthesizing this legislation is to host a special call meeting in probably early March to give department heads and elected officials an ability to have a view on the budgetary and process impacts resulting from this legislation. In fact, we did meet with the Chief Judge, Pope Joy, Court Administrator Suzanne Armstrong, and Probation, Bob McKellen, last week and had this discussion. We'll be working to find a date and proceed to get the information out to the committee and to the public in a meaningful form. And like I said, probably early March. Secondly, in the Capitol, we saw disgraceful events last weekend, and we have public safety officials all over the country on alert and monitoring networks to ensure ensure the safety of public and officials. DuPage County as well is working with law enforcement at all levels, national, state, and local, monitoring, and I've been in contact with OEM's Murray Snow and Campus Chief of Security Briggs to ensure community and campus safety and make sure that all is vigilant. So thanks to everyone for their efforts on this. And with that, I will entertain a motion for approval of the January 5th, 2021 minutes.
So moved, Chaplain.
Excuse me, Chairwoman.
Yes.
There is one small change in the minutes. Toward the end of the minutes, we need to change Gary Schwarzy to Greg Schwarzy.
I think we can have that change made.
I can make a
noted.
change.
Okay, so we did have a motion. We have a second. We have a comment to change. Any other changes, additions? A roll call vote, please.
Sorry, the motion was from Chaplain. Second was
Yes.
from
Garcia.
Shorzy.
Gary.
Gary Shorzy, yes.
Member Chaplain,
Aye.
Member Covert,
Aye.
Member Desart,
Aye.
Member Eckhoff,
Aye.
Member Garcia,
Aye.
Member Krajewski,
Aye.
Member Ozog,
Aye.
Member Pachalski,
Aye.
Member Schwarzy,
Aye.
Member Selman,
Aye.
Member Zay,
Aye.
Chair Renahan.
Aye. I'd like to move on to a presentation. We have a COVID update from the county sheriff. I'd like to thank Sheriff Mendrick. He's always willing to come in and have an open conversation. And today, this conversation will be on all the things you've been doing relating to COVID to protect people.
Sorry, we can't hear the sheriff. Can't hear.
You're good? Thank you. Again, thank you, Chairwoman, for allowing me to come and present before the county board today. As you can imagine, 2020 was a challenging year. We went through a lot of stuff. We had COVID, we had the civil unrest. We're hoping not to have any over the next couple of days. I don't need a repeat of that. But let me go about COVID first and what we've done in our correctional facilities. So, we kind of saw it coming across seas, and back in January, we started planning. So we're ahead of the curve, thank God. But what we did was we modified our ventilation system thanks to county facilities management. They changed our HVAC system to where it would externally vent and at a higher capacity. So we have no particulate matter in the air. It's clean air. So that was the first prong. Then, as God would have it, in my opinion, 6 months prior to COVID, we had the contagion control teams for janitorial custodial cleaning of the correctional facility and certifications for job training. And that ended up falling right into place with what we needed to do, and that was keep the jail completely clean. So, I'd say it, I'll take the Pepsi challenge against any jail anywhere. We are cleanest that you can possibly, the floors shine. It's a clean environment, a clean air environment. We also have 17 negative pressure cells. So if somebody says the word sick, they're a tree, they're planted where they are. We come full PPEs, we PPE that person, they go right in a negative pressure cell. So that's how we handle that. Also, another big prong, we're able to depopulate our jail to a point to where we had a vacant fourth floor. Now, the vacant floor was great because that's basically our incubation floor. If you're new to the environment, even if you're not sick, you're going to a vacant fourth floor for 15 days. We added 1 day extra than the health department's regulations. And we incubate anybody in there, so you can't get in the general population. We have had, I think, around 9 times we've had people sent to us that were COVID positive. And thank again to our great deputy and nurses. I want to really emphasize the work of our correctional nurses and healthcare and our deputies
who have that first contact and screening, 9 times they found people that were COVID positive. We got them right into a negative pressure cell instead of coming into our direct population. So what that did is that allowed us to test until they were negative. Then once they were negative, they went into that vacant 4th floor for 15-day incubation. So we've actually averted 9 of these, and you know, everyone is scarier than the last. It's a big stressor on us. We probably sent up to 70 employees home for 14-day periods because of potential exposures. All 9 of those were transport. So the transport officers have to be sent home after that because it's considered an exposure. So with that being said, in the time we've been doing this, we have graduated now 11 classes of janitorial services. Those are good jobs. Those are $18 to $20 an hour jobs. This is part of our rehabilitative model. This is keeping people on the straight and narrow. What we do is this vocational is just one of many. We also have done welding. We're do horticulture. We're looking at doing painting, drywalling, tiling, many other vocationals, because this is what gives people what we call hope and purpose within our correctional facility. We're trying to give people the best preparedness to meet the outside world again without addiction, without mental health. We bring people in the beginning. The vocational is just one part of what we call our continuum of care. When you come in, the first thing that we realize is that 80% of the people who come in are going to be addicted to either drugs or alcohol. That's just the way it is. So the first and most important thing for us is detox. We have to get you off of what you're on, because half of those people are self-medicating because of mental health issues. So we have to peel off, we have to detox, we got to start with drug recovery so we can identify mental health issues. Once we identify mental health issues, then there's a myriad of plans for that too. It could be therapy, medicated assisted treatment we're doing, Vivitrol, we're looking at buprenorphine as a possible stopgap to the detox to make it less painful. You know, the reason people, because we actually talk to our people who are incarcerated, the whole reason that people are so abhorrent to get off heroin, it's because they say that detox feels like they're dying, like they're actually dying, like worse than any other possible pain you can imagine in your life. So that's a painful process that we have to manage within a correctional facility. So we do all of that, and then we go further. We do GED, anger management, the myriad of vocationals. We do a child book program that actually Liz Chaplin has been helping us on since the beginning, where we populate the books for kids in our visitation. People come in, they choose a book. The person who's incarcerated, the parent will read it on video. Then we give that book and the video to the family. So we complete that familial bond, because usually you could graft somebody to either religion or family, and those are the 2 avenues that we get for them to voluntarily participate in all these programs that we have, because they're all voluntary. This is part of our rehabilitative services that we do. I just want to, what I'm going to do here, I don't have any prepared statement. I'm not a real big speech writer, but what I do have here, these are some quotes from people who are incarcerated and are now assimilating back into life. But I think it's very salient. You know, you always want a litmus test. Is what you're doing working? Is it really working? Are you're getting the result that you're after? So I'm going to read some statements from both family members of incarcerated people and of incarcerated people, and this is what keeps me going. If I wasn't in here working with Just for the past many months, I'd probably be dead from an overdose by now. You know, I don't know what could resonate more to me. This one is specifically to Mike Berry, who I want to recognize as our director of Justice DuPage. Mike makes all this stuff happen. He is a savant in his field, and he helps people like I've never seen anyone help people before. But this one is, Mike, before I met you, I had no hope. I was lost, ready to give up. You changed my way of thinking. You told me I could still be someone and do great things. Nobody talked to me like that. I was always a problem. People put me down for all the bad things I've done. Now I know I was going the wrong way. This time it will be different because you cared and didn't give up on me. Another one, here's a wife of an incarcerated person. Huge thank you, Sheriff Mendrick, for providing a successful program for men and women to turn their lives around and become better citizens, a better person for their families. Another one, I'm truly thankful for the opportunity to participate in the custodial maintenance program. Everyone's been determined to help me and my classmates to be successful in the class and have the support we need here to ensure a good start with a solid foundation. There are so many here. We've probably got 50 of these. I'm just reading a couple of the highlights. The last time I got here, I had $40, no place to go. Could have gone to a shelter. I lived on the street like an animal, drank water from puddles, and stole food just so I could buy more drugs. So these are alternatives that we're giving all these people. Going through this custodial class, I've been given a chance to learn a new trade, hands-on experience, which will probably change my life. I haven't been given many chances to change my life for the better. Now I have a chance to change. Part of the cage control team, first time in my life, I can say I'm proud of what I'm doing and that I've become important again. Thanks to all the counselors. I mean, and it goes on and on. I don't want to take up all your time reading all of these, but you know, this tells us what we're doing is work. We're really making a difference. And I want to say right now, I'm aware that I upset some people with my Facebook post, but truly it will be a dismantling of public safety as we know it if the bill passes as is. And here's why. All of these programs that we do, all of the rehabilitation, our target group are the nonviolent offenders that we can work with, that we can rehabilitate. That is what we do. If these people, like burglary was one of the examples that we were told would be what they call like a catch and release kind of thing where they wouldn't necessarily have to be incarcerated because it's not a violent crime. But those people are the perfect people for us to rehabilitate. Those are the people that when we get them, we do the detox. So much of this comes from drugs. The detox, the drug recovery, mental health, GED. So our target audience of who we fix is who would be purported in this House bill to not have anymore. And to tell somebody, well, you're still gonna have a court date, you still may go to jail, but we're just gonna put you back into society to do whatever you've been doing in whatever cycle that you're in. Most people statistically go back to drug use and criminality during that time. And I would much rather have them with us where we're bettering them, improving them, training them, helping them to become a productive member of society again. And to take that away from us will destroy everything. Even COVID, you have to understand, these contagion control teams, the vocational, all this stuff, you know who does that work? They're called trustees. Those are the people that are being purported to not need to be in a correctional facility anymore because, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me, and that's the struggle I have. You know, if there's meaningful talks in the future about police reform, I'd love to be at the table. It just, you know, the way everything was done at, 3:30 in the morning and a 6-day, notice on this, it was really a challenge for us to, look really quick how it's going to affect our operation. And then when we did look at it, we look at it as cataclysmic. Losing a program like this to where we're dependent on that work group to rehabilitate, to work under the structure that we've had, because you got to understand, we're not like Cook County. I know there's some problems in Cook County, and that's where a lot of the issues are coming from. But
Interrupt you.
Yes,
I
please.
think we're off topic
Okay.
As far as our agenda goes, and I just, I think this is a conversation for another day. If we went around the room, I think we could probably be here for a few
Sure,
days. So,
understand.
thank
Okay.
you for coming in. I appreciate the COVID-related update and all the great things you do. I really think you are helping people. I think you need to move on.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do I need a motion to do the informational items? Can I have a motion to receive and place on file informational item, Public Defender's December 2020 monthly statistical report?
So moved, Chaplain.
Second, Desart.
I think we had Pachalski first, then Chaplin. All right, any comments, additions? Okay, and let's take a roll call, please.
I saw Zay had his hand up. I don't know if he had a comment.
Who had their hand up?
I did. I'll bring it up under old business. That's fine.
Roll call and informational item.
Member Pachalski.
Aye.
Member Schwarzy.
Aye.
Member Selman.
Aye.
Member Zay.
Aye.
Chair Renahan.
Aye.
Member Chaplin.
Aye.
Member Covert.
Aye.
Member Desart.
Aye.
Member Eckhoff.
Aye.
Member Garcia.
Aye.
Member Krajewski.
Aye.
Member Ozog.
Aye.
That will be received and placed on file. Moving to old business, I just want to say something first. I guess I had the dates wrong on the information. I have not yet synthesized, here's this much information. So But it does not take, does not take effect tomorrow. So anyway, we do have some time. Old business, Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I just want to thank the sheriff. We have heard relating to COVID that our jail has had very few cases, as we've seen in Cook County and in the state prisons where it has been epidemic level, where actually I can't believe the governor now has said that inmates are being moved up to 1B ahead of essential workers, waterworks people, utility workers, because that they've done such a poor job and our sheriff has done such an outstanding job at keeping COVID out of our jail. I just want to thank him for that. As for this bill, I know you just showed it, but that's the problem. I mean, a lot of us have a feeling that, there is something we can do. I mean, there's a lot of people that are signing petitions. I mean, it's my feeling that I'm going to bring a resolution forward asking the governor to veto this. As you held that paperwork up, I don't know how an Illinois House member or a senator can decipher 764 pages in about 50 minutes. So again, we're talking about, I've talked to the sheriff last week, the state's attorney. I mean, I don't think people realize some of the issues that are in this bill that are going to be unfunded mandates for the county. And we know it doesn't take effect until 2023, but still it's another unfunded mandate. And the changes it's going to do to our policing and our criminal justice system. And I mean, this is a big topic and we all want criminal justice to be at the top of it, but the way it was done and the process it was done was not the right way to do it. And there should be meaningful hearings on this. There should be input from law enforcement, from state's attorneys, from victim advocates, from everybody, just to throw this together in the last minute. I think us waiting till March to do anything, I think is a mistake. And again, I think we can ask the governor, who knows when he's going to sign it, but I would hope that a lot of people have already signed petitions to veto this. And it is going to be a drastic change in law enforcement and criminal justice here. And I don't think it's for the better for DuPage County.
Thank you, members. Member Chaplin, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I too wanted to thank Sheriff Mendrick for coming in and talking about all the really good things they're doing in the jail, especially regarding the rehabilitation over there. I've been in the jail quite a few times, and I've seen the crews, cleaning the jail, and I participated in the garden and things like that. So really doing a good job with that part of it, with the jail and keeping our inmates safe from COVID. Regarding that House Bill 3653, I believe it was, my understanding is that there were 9 public hearings on this bill and over 30 hours of comment. So I think there is a lot of, misinformation out there. So I look forward to talking about this bill and going through your resolution. But, I think it would be a good idea, his member Renahan said, that we're going to be having a special call in March on this to go through that bill and take a look at it and, see how we move forward. But there was 30 hours of public comment and 9 public hearings. And from what I understand, the sponsor of the bill worked with a lot of legislators and addressed a lot of their concerns. Cameras are no longer going to be an unfunded mandate. They're not going to be mandatory. They were trying to remove qualified immunity. We're not taking that away from the police officer. So there were a lot of last minute changes too. So I think once we see the totality of the bill, people might have a little bit different idea.
I had seen Member Eckhoff.
I just wanted to make a few comments. I'm glad that you're going to sponsor a hearing on the bill regarding what Member Chaplin said about the public hearings. I have been talking to the state's attorney, and we've been planning some type of response to what was being presented. Public hearings, I think, were all prior to the time that the actual sponsor of the bill sent it out for public viewing. There's been plenty of public hearings on no cash bail, body cameras and a lot of other things, but they weren't related directly to the bill. They weren't linked into the bill because we didn't know what the bill was going to be until the very last minute, as Mr. Zay said. I was interested to hear what Member Chaplin said about some of the modifications that apparently have already been made, because I spent a lot of the weekend reading about what the bill was supposed to be. And I think it's got huge problems with it. And we can go over it in more detail later, but I don't know who you're going to ask to be at the public hearing, but I would ask that you also include the public defender in that, because I think he's got some important things to say, along with the sheriff and the state's attorney and probation and the chief judge. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Drunkoff, and I think that is the intention, to include all the reports JPS. Member Krajewski, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. I just think it defies logic if something doesn't take effect at the 2023, why it has to go so quickly, but that's my own opinion. They would have more time to work on it. I heard the chief from Glen Ellen say that there's going to be trailer bills to fix it, but if you have 2023 as your start date, you have plenty of time to get there. Did any of the legislators that represent DuPage County reach out to us to find out, or reach out to the sheriff or the state's attorney on how that's going to affect us here in the county?
I was not, no one reached out to me, maybe Chair Dessert. No one reached out to me. There are some provisions in the bill that do take effect, like the body cameras do take effect January 1 of 2022. A task force on the immunity takes effect immediately. So they're all different effective dates in the bill, but the cash bail provision doesn't take effect until January 1 of 2023.
Because not just with this bill, and you can go back 4 years ago and 6 years ago, and we had majority Republican representing DuPage County. A lot of these legislators that represent us, senators and state reps, they never call us up and ask us how this bill affects our operations at the county. They only learn of it after they pass a bill, and then they have to come back and try to fix it. But again, I would try to, we have some new legislators now, but this has been going on for years here at the county, that we, at least ask them to, call us up when they start making, passing laws that affect us here at the county, just to find out what it's going to actually do, what it means. Some of these sponsors of bills in other parts of the state are trying to fix something in their area, but it has a dramatic impact on us here at DuPage County. So I would just encourage you, Cheryl, to, keep asking these people to reach out to us and our staff, because you guys do a very good job of analyzing these bills and saying how it's going to affect our operations here at the county. Thank you.
You do anything else under old business? Seeing none, moving into new business. Anyone on new business? Then I will entertain a motion to.
Member Renahan, Chairman Renahan.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, I did have new business. During public comment, I hope this is not going to be every meeting. We do have a right of freedom of speech, and I support our sheriff for giving his right and post something on social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want to, and that he is a dedicated law enforcement officer and would probably have more experience in knowing what this bill would do than the general public, and getting his input personally, not on his county Facebook page, but as personal as it was said. If people don't like what the sheriff says, then unfriend him. But he has a right to give his opinion. He has a First Amendment right for freedom of speech, and I support our sheriff. He was giving, obviously it was frustrating. I can tell you, besides the criminal justice, I was on the phone all weekend for the Water Commission. They were trying to pass lead service changes for water systems throughout the state of Illinois, which would have cost us tens of millions of dollars that we had worked on for 18 months with the sponsor of the bill. And all that was thrown to the side and changed in the last minute that we found out, on Thursday afternoon that this was going to go through. So again, for people, I support our sheriff. He's passionate about what he does, and he has the right to post what he wants on Facebook.
Thank you, Member Zay. Anything else under new business? All right, then I will entertain that motion to adjourn. Anybody? Motion, please.
So move, Chaplin.
Need a second in the room? Second, Pajowski. All right, let me stand adjourned. Thank you.